are back for episode 3 of season 8. We've got a great panel here for you today, but before we get into it, we'd like to give a shout out to our sponsor, which is the Gabriel Group for season 8. They are the premier hospitality equipment source for the Midwest. Gabriel Group offers more than just tabletop solutions. They provide a network of showrooms and test kitchens in Detroit, Grand Rapids, Cincinnati, and Indianapolis, where you can get inspired by the latest styles from top brands like Steelite, Turbo Chef, and South Bend. Their state-of-the-art test kitchens are game changers. Chefs can demo recipes and test the latest high-tech equipment. It's an amazing resource for restaurateurs, and the people there are great. Visit GabrielGRP.com to find a showroom or to book your kitchen time, and we'll have the link in the show notes. We're also pleased to have on hand some Stoltzler cocoon glasses that we're all drinking out of, so let's get into that a little bit for the mention how the glass, folks. What do you think about that when we get to the glass check period? I think that'd be fun. All right, let's get into it and open up with an introduction of our first panelist here, who is Arturo Fausto. Arturo is a man who proves that once you fall down the wine rabbit hole, there's no coming back. Nope. Born and raised in Mexico, just a stone's throw from the Valle de Parras, the oldest wine-growing region in the Americas, by the way. It wasn't until a trip back home in 2019 that the wine bug finally bit. By day, he's a healthcare research manager, and he applies the same kind of technical rigor needed in his work to his wine hobby. While it may have started as a wine and popcorn Fridays thing during the pandemic, it quickly escalated into a full-blown obsession. He's already conquered his WSET Level 2 and is currently white-knuckling his way through the WSET Level 3 program. From hosting massive 31-bottle Beaujolais vertical tastings to turning his basement into a curated cellar, this is a guy who has truly immersed himself in the real wine life. And that's a hashtag, the real wine life. We have a hot take from Arturo here. He argues that there is simply no such thing as a bad bottle of champagne. No such thing. And more importantly, if you actually know what you're looking at, champagne is one of the best values on the market. Arturo, but let's get to this. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. And I'll go ahead and say, please note I said there's no bad champagne. I didn't say there's no boring champagne or there's no overpriced champagne. Those definitely exist.
Right. This is a semantics point, but that's,
yes, exactly. You know, there's just so many rules and it's so specific. Insert the quote from Wayne's World about like, oh, it's got a, it can't be called champagne if it's not from the Champagne region of France. But it's so much more than that, right? I mean, there's like laws on planting densities, yields, pressings, aging on lees. Like, it's just so specific that like at a baseline, it's really hard to make bad wine. And even the stuff that's kind of overpriced, you can cut this if you want, but Veuve Clicquot yellow label.
There's no post editing on it, by the way.
It's boring, maybe. It's $60 a bottle. I don't know that I want to pay for that, but I'd rather have a glass of Veuve Clicquot yellow label than most sparkling wine I've ever had at a wedding.
Okay, so here's a hard hitting question for you then.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, I don't think anybody would dispute that. Anybody want to dispute? No. If you can't get champagne though, what bottle of sparkling are you going to go for? Or are you going to go for one?
Yes, if there's Corpinat or Reventos, which I guess it's his own thing, but it's very similar. That's where I would probably go. I actually really like English fizz, but it's just as expensive, if not more, than champagne.
Right, so why not just get the champagne?
Point? Right. Yeah,
excellent. Good. Well, thank you, Arturo. Matt, why don't you introduce our second guest?
All right, our second guest will go from right to left. We have Taylor Johnson. Taylor is the wine director and sommelier at Ann Arbor's top dining establishment, Echelon Chicken.
Hey, that could be a concept in the future.
Yeah, that's your pop-up.
Especially with Arturo's champagne, I think we have a business
Echelon
concept brewing.
Chicken, yeah. That's a lot of sh sounds.
And beer. Oh, a bar. Anyway. She has had the pleasure of working closely with Michigan wine producers and places them in high esteem among the great wines of the world. She has been published in Tasting Panel Magazine 2024 and hopes to continue wine writing while also in hot pursuit of her Level 3 advanced certification through the Master Court of Americas, Sommeliers, right?
You got it.
Okay, cool. When not doing all things wine, she enjoys film photography and playing with clay. Mm-hmm. Taylor's hot take is that she doesn't abide by seasonal drinking.
Oh, this is true.
Drinks what she wants when she wants it. So, all right, what's your midwinter rosé?
Ooh. Well, I think, for me, what's in the glass right now, drinking Lambrusco or For me, I think even like some of the rosés that are coming out of southern Italy, you can get a little more depth and some skin contact. So I think that maceration goes well with the heavier flavors of the winter. I think especially, if you're getting a little bit of like amphora treatment in the wine. Okay. I think there's a Georgian wine that we had at our Christmas party for our tasting group that just knocked my socks off. It was delicious. Nice. So yeah, I think you drink what you want when you want to.
Does rosé have to? Well, yeah, it has to be the color too, right? I'm trying to think if could you count a little bit of extra skin contact on a white, like Pinot Gris?
Yeah. I think to
count that as a rosé.
I think for me the most important thing is to just continue to have a lens of curiosity about what I'm drinking all throughout the year. Yeah. I think sometimes it's also like festive and fun to abide by traditions, whether that's for your family or your friends or what the occasion calls for. But yeah, I think a lens of curiosity also gives me the opportunity to taste many things instead of abiding to just one bracket.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. Excellent. Go ahead.
Let me also add that Taylor can get a few extra points because she employs my daughter. Okay.
Hey, I thought this was a level
I'm
playing.
Sorry, it's not like that. This is like the wine business, right? Like it's like allocated. You got to buy the cheap stuff to get the
pay to play. I get it.
Pay to play. That's kind of like what it. Yeah, like that. All right, and shall I introduce you, Mark, while we're at it here? Or, you are our third panelist, Mark Kurlianchik. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. At your core, you are driven by connection. Despite the many awards he's earned as a journalist, including 2 Michigan Emmys and a James Beard Award, the Soviet immigrant's passion is humble and simple, connecting people through food and beverage. Food and beverage and culture and the art of storytelling. That's a big one.
That's a big one.
Yeah, for you, the art of storytelling. He is best known for his tenure as the Detroit Free Press former critic and as the co-director of the film Cold Water Kitchen, a James Beard awarded feature-length documentary about a chef who has taught incarcerated men the skill of fine dining for nearly 40 years. In 23, Mark founded Booth One Creative, a boutique marketing agency that helps restaurants and food and beverage brands tell their unique stories in their own unique ways. Your hot take, Mark, is that nothing turns off would-be wine drinkers like listening to wine people pontificate about wine. And that wine nomenclature is a contributing factor to the global decline in wine drinking.
Amen.
That's a big one.
That's a big one.
You're okay. You're going to give us a little insight on that?
Yeah.
What is it? Is it like it's too much Petrosian beluga and not enough burgers and fries?
I will say that I think what you folks are doing here is kind of the antidote to it, right? It's like it's making it fun and accessible.
Thank you.
Because I spend a lot of time in restaurants and I sometimes overhear wine trainings. When a rep will come in and train the staff, and not only do my eyes glaze over, but I also see the staff's eyes glaze over. And I always am wondering, how is this actually helping, attract new folks to wine?
Sure.
And often to me, it sounds like it's doing the opposite. It's turning people off when what we need to do is open doors and try and find new ways to bring people in. Now, how we do that's an open conversation, but that's kind of
that should be the focus.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. Thank you for. I mean, this is part of what the show is too. It's kind of like opening the door, not just in a in a conceptual way to wine. Like, yes, you can come and enjoy wine, but also, being here in the studio, right? We have people come, they gather. It's a physical way to come in and introduce ourselves to wine. So, yeah, thanks for being part of that and making that happen. We think we're doing the right thing. So
absolutely.
Let's keep on trucking. Matt, you want to lead them into the what's next? The glass checks.
Glass check. Yes.
Yeah. Because you score them on that, don't you?
I do. Yes. All right, what does everybody have? I see 2 whites and a red, I believe.
Yeah, I've got the white Châteauneuf.
Cool.
Lambrusco.
Nice.
And I've got some Blanc de Noir Millésime Champagne.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful. What do you guys think of it?
As mentioned, I think Lambrusco is something, when we talk about getting even younger people a little more interested in wine. Mm-hmm. I was sharing with Mark, Lambrusco has been a fun way to introduce, some of our guests and people that are curious about wine to something that isn't too serious. Also in the price point, it's quite accessible. This one is the Cantina de Sorbara. The Emma is the cuvée here. Nice. And it's a demi-sec, so just slightly sweet Lambrusco from Emilia-Romagna.
Oh, nice. But that nice little bit of tannin, it always kind of covers up that extra sweetness.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, for those of us like today that you want to have a glass of something, a taste of something delicious before the sun goes down, this is something you could drink easily and delightfully.
Oh, yeah. Heck yeah.
Perhaps it's because I'm a contrarian, but I always, whenever there's a region or an ACA that's known for something, and then you're giving me the lesser known version, I'm always curious about that expression. And so, like, when we think of Châteauneuf-du-Pape, it's like it's a red wine and it's big, and so to go whenever I'm presented with a white, this is so overlooked because of the benchmark in the region,
right?
And this wine in the glass, I think this is a Chad selection, so you can maybe tell us a little more about the technical. But like, I drank it, and this is going to sound weird, but again, this is all what this is about. Is like I felt like a silkworm.
Yeah, so you're talking about the Berthold rain, the Châteauneuf-du-Pape Blanc?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
yeah, right.
Exactly. It formed a vision in my brain of me being a silkworm, kind of like worming my way through soil. I don't know. That's what I felt.
He's already doing emotive tasting.
Yes, this guy's you're already ahead on the
like
emotive.
3 segments ahead.
That's amazing.
That's great.
Wow. Bring it down a notch. Yeah.
Coming in hot. Sorry.
That's great. No, beautiful said. And wonderful. Go ahead, Arturo. Sorry.
Yeah, this champagne, Brocard. By the way, Mark's gonna hate that I said millésime instead of vintage. I'm sorry. Technical terms, right? But it's super indulgent. It's from the Côte d'Ivoire, so warmer, lesser known area of champagne.
Very rich. That one.
Yeah, really rich, indulgent. 5 years only, so it's like just super yeasty, very red fruited. Like it's just like not really, people would expect kind of like crisp, super linear champagne, and this is like indulgent, and it's like just kind of to me it almost drinks like somewhere in between what you'd expect from champagne and what you expect from like white Burgundy, and it's like
that is totally fair. And that crossed my mind in a flash when I first tasted it because of the intensity and the richness. So yeah beautiful.
It's pretty in your face, and I like it.
Good. Yeah. Matt, are you satisfied with those?
Those are great. Everybody's got points. Yeah. And everybody has like, except Taylor, like an extra an extra thing next to their name. So like, Mark's got a silkworm, and then Arturo has a yellow label next to his.
My favorite.
But you can pick one up. That's gonna haunt your days.
Hey, if they'll
Arturo,
sponsor me,
yellow label Fausto. Yeah.
If they'll sponsor me, I'll shill all day.
Excellent. Well, if you guys are ready, we can jump into our what we call this the battle segment. This is where the debate rages. Let's open up with, I have one here that riffs, Mark, off of what you were talking about in your hot take. And this is a story that's kind of about the vibe versus vocabulary war. And it goes like this. In early 2026, the traditional wine dictionary is being shredded. Sommeliers at the world's top restaurants are reportedly being told to stop using nerdy descriptors like tannic, structured, or volatile acidity. Have you gotten that? Have you gotten the command, Taylor, to stop using nerdy terms? No. Have you gotten the instruction?
The command to stop.
Command.
No.
Okay.
No, not yet. Not yet.
All
I
right.
think
Well, so there's some.
My staff is nice enough that they let me be as weird as I need to be or technical as I need to be.
Okay. So others are being told to stop using nerdy descriptors like tannic, structured, or volatile acidity because they alienate younger drinkers. Instead, they are being trained in, quote, vibe vocabulary, end quote, using words like crushable, budget banger, flirty, and lip smacker.
You should see Taylor's face right now.
I know.
I'm smacking my lips. I'm smacking my lips.
Critics of the move argue that by abandoning technical terms, we are dumbing down the art of winemaking and making it impossible for drinkers to actually learn about what's in their glass. So, with that baseline story in mind, we want to ask you guys, is the shift towards non-specific wine language a victory for accessibility and honest wine conversation? Or is it just like an artifact of the post-soundbite world, kind of like a Gen Z kind of a comfort zone, a Gen Z comfort zone that has nothing to do with wine? Would you trust, me put it this way, would you trust a sommelier who describes a $100 bottle as pure vibes, or how about a $1,000 bottle, right? Like, where's the break point? So this is the question. Go ahead.
I think if you don't abandon the technical, there's no harm in being fun with it and trying to be, relatable if that is someone's chosen vocabulary. But I think in any craft that has a technical component, you don't want to abandon the technical terms, because for some people that is a connection point. I think if you, for myself,
old people or no? I mean, that's what we're talking about. I mean, that's really that generational
genuinely,
shift.
like when we taste new wines at the restaurant, we go through, I'm not like, hey, get your grid out now, doom, but we go through structure. We talk about the whys, because from an educational perspective, it for me is that like foundation that's going to allow them to build whatever top of that house that they want to. So if it is just about the vibes, they can use that in their rhetoric. I don't think I would personally sell a bottle based on vibes, but I hope my vibe is awesome enough that makes them want to go for this.
So do you have a sense of how your servers are talking about wine in general? Are they? I mean, I would guess that because they're working under you and they have your I would call it expert approach, that they're probably a little more on the traditional technical side. But I mean, how do you hear them working?
I'm smiling because I'm thinking of everyone on the team, and everyone does it a little differently. Sure. I think for the basic that I ask of everyone on the team is don't say something you don't know. If you want to talk about how a wine makes you feel, or when we tasted something, we always talk about, okay, what on the menu? What is the why behind this? Okay, we tasted it. Who likes it? Who doesn't? Let's talk about why. And then furthermore, where does it have its place on the menu? And then from there, there are some teammates that'll be like, yeah, man, like when Taylor talks about this wine, man, she gets crazy. It's awesome. And they'll be like, okay, yeah, let's try it. So I think that's as lofty as they get. But
okay, so within the context of the debate, you think there's not much to this. The two fit together and they work together. It's kind of a seamless.
I think as long as they're hand in hand and there's a reason to the rhyme away.
Okay.
And as a
Arturo,
customer, as a customer, I think ideally there would be kind of a blend. I don't want to get political here, but like the death of expertise is not a good thing, and it's not a good thing in wine, right? Like there are reasons why wine tastes different. And when I'm buying, the first time I met Taylor, I was at Echelon dining, and like I if I'm ordering something I've never had before, I want to know why. Taylor might want to sell it to me, and I've learned a lot from a lot of people. Mick at Red Wagon,
appreciation, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Having some information about the wine.
And the average person goes in saying, "Oh, I want something that's not too dry, not too sweet," right? And it's like a lot of people don't even understand kind of what those terms actually mean. What they usually mean is like they actually want a bone dry wine, but they don't want it to be like too tannic or overwhelming. They don't want. And so being able to walk somebody through that in kind of a layman's terms way, I think that actually gets them to try new things, and that actually gets them exploring, that actually gets them interested. Like, you in your introduction, you mentioned it took me traveling to a wine region that was always a stone's throw away and actually talking to winemakers and things like that to like, oh my God, I actually think this is really interesting. And they weren't like dumbing it down, but they were making it accessible.
What about locally? Where do you live now?
Berkeley.
You're in Berkeley.
Yeah.
So what about in the Metro Detroit area? How do you find the level of when you're out and about, like in restaurants or in the retail shops? How are they talking about it?
Depends on where I go. I mean, there's certain restaurants and stores where the staff is really knowledgeable. If I buy a lot of my nicer wine from Make at Red Wagon, and certainly if I have a question about a wine I've never tried, I ask it.
So I want to make a distinction here. This is a good point. Between, I'm not saying they're not knowledgeable, right? You can be knowledgeable and still talk about it from this. Again, I'll just use that vibe thing. So that's what we had in the paper. I don't usually use that word. I'm just going to be honest. But I'm not saying they're not knowledgeable. I'm just saying, how are they speaking about wine? Are they tending to be more technical, or are they getting more into it's crushable or lip smack, or what's
people
the other one?
Who
Budget bangy?
Yeah, people who know me will mention stuff that they know I like and kind of compare it to that. And that's really helpful for me, right? Yeah. Okay, like you like this producer. This will be a little bit more extracted. This will be a little bit more juicier, more fruity, and stuff like that. And those are not necessarily, extracted is, but juicy, fruity is not a technical term, right? And I know exactly what they mean. And I know that they know my palate. Now, if it's somebody new, then a lot of times it'll take a little bit more back and forth. Like, are we speaking the same language?
That's exactly. I mean, there's nuance. Obviously, I provided the hot take at the top about this, but there's nuance to it, and it's all about knowing your audience and meeting them where they're at. And so somebody who is, maybe has very little wine knowledge, you do have to kind of go into the vibey sort of poet, a little bit more poetic, or even just like, well, just trust me, and once you have that trust, then you can go a little bit deeper, and then you can kind of, teach them about some of the technical aspects. But if you start, if that's sort of your starting point for everybody, that's where it's sort of like, you can't treat the consumer as one flat thing. You constantly have to be adjusting for who is in your space.
Oh, exactly. 100%. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, did you have, so I think one of the interesting things about that is that how do you feel, and this is what I was getting at with when I was asking you, Arturo, about this, and you can speak to it, of course, too, Taylor, but like, what is the general mix? I mean, are we doing a good job of it in Michigan? I mean, I feel like there's a lot of shops.
Super spotty.
Super spotty. Okay.
I mean, like, there's a lot of shops where there's maybe one person who actually knows the wine, right? There's restaurants, I don't want to name it, but it's a restaurant downtown with actually pretty nice wine list. And they had a really obvious mistake. They had a wine label as Château de Chem at a really unreal price for a 750 milliliter bottle. I'm like, are you sure this is what it is?
Did you buy it?
Well, it wasn't. it was a Grec. It was not Château de Chem. It was a wine by Château.
Grec's good. Yeah.
Well, right, but there is a price difference between those wines, and so once I realized what it was, I'm like, hey, I'm not trying to be pedantic. My wife's like horrified that I'm even having this conversation, but I'm like, is there a SOM I can point this out to? They're like, no, we don't have, and like, there's a manager who orders the wine. Right. Our reps put together the list, and it's like, and actually it was a pretty nice wine list, and it's like, oh my God, there's nobody here. Oh, and by the way, he's on vacation, so there's nobody who can address this. And it's like, okay, well, you've got a 750 milliliter bottle of Château de Chem at $200. That couldn't have been right, and so so that's surprising. And then there's other places. Unfortunately, I just saw the news that Vertical's closing, but that's a place where like everybody who works there knows the wine list, right? And there's a lot of stuff. Most of the stuff on the wine list I might have not heard of or ever tried, and they can tell me about it.
Let's give a shout out to the Lutfies too, though, because I mean the Fine Wine Source is an awesome retail shop. People can still get up there. So, okay, good. Matt, you want to give these guys one more of our news stories here? Then we'll transition into our next segment.
Okay, sounds good. All right. So let's see. What am I going to do? Here we go. So, Vincent Joly, son of enigmatic vigneron Nicolas Joly, with the aid of his inventions, is helping us shield us from harmful electromagnetism. If you head over to EPEconseil, CONSEIL.fr, you too can be the proud owner of low and high frequency detectors. Protection textiles, such as women's radiation, shielding beanies, dress shirts, balaclavas, and baby guard pregnancy belts. Don't think that they forgot about the fellas. The EPEconseil helpfully sells dress shirts, undershirts, and boxers. For €1,066, the traveler can go and shield themselves from electromagnetic rays with a handy pop-up canopy. So,
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, no, I actually know that this is a real market for sure.
Yeah.
Wait, is this
would I be remiss if I said I actually looked at purchasing a beanie?
Yeah. Oh, nice. I was just going to say, what's always intrigued me about biodynamics is the spiritual component. And then the dip into astrology with, and practical farming philosophy at the same time. And for millennia, these ideas weren't separated, between just the practical philosophy. So how much spirituality goes into winemaking, and can you really have like an atheist in the vineyard kind of thing?
I think you taste it when there's, no spiritual connection to what's happening in the field. I believe it.
That you can taste it?
I believe so, because...
What's the taste like? I mean, what are you missing? What's...
Homogeneous.
The taste is homogeneous.
I think, when you're...
There's a lack of detail and nuance or subtlety in the wine.
So I think of it as like buying fruit that's off season here in Michigan, or like when you have seafood in a coastal region versus having it here. Whether or not that's the EMF doing all of that nowadays with its, flying and traveling. But I really do believe that, biodynamics are very important for some producers. I'll explain it to guests. They'll be like, oh, what are biodynamics? Like, from a broad sense, think of it metaphorically, like horoscopes for wine. And you don't want to make every decision based off of this, but it is going to lend something to your philosophy and in the end product. So I think when you can get a real sense of terroir or place and time, those decisions count, similar to like growing vegetables.
Yeah, I would agree. You can certainly, I think that like biodynamics make wine. I'm sorry, I'll throw it back to you, Mark. I feel like it makes wine better generally. When you can taste it, it's better, right?
Yeah,
so
this sounds like
it's just
BS,
hard
but
to quantify.
You can't taste when there's like some soul to it, right? And when I said boring, that's the difference to me between like something like this. It might not be as technically perfect as something from a really big house, but you can taste they did something interesting with it, right? And that's and that doesn't come from, and they are biodynamic producers, so that's just kind of a coincidence. But like you can taste that they like really put their like time and care into it and made something unique.
Right.
Well, I think belief goes a long way, right? In anything that you do, it's like you have to kind of believe in what you're doing. And if you don't, you're gonna taste it because you're not gonna care as much. And it's just I think it comes down to that. And then we can go deeper and go into like quantum physics and the fact that we're all vibrating on different. Everything has energy and these different vibrations. And we're in my culture we make sauerkraut on the new moon because the way that the moon affects the tides. Why wouldn't that affect the liquid that's in a grape and when you harvest?
It's like never rack during a thunderstorm. Right. Like, it's the same kind of ideas.
Yeah, and these are maybe like ancient wisdoms that are modern sort of technical interpretations don't give as much credit to, but we've been doing this for thousands of years, and there is wisdom in it as well.
Can I riff on this a little bit?
Yeah, please.
Because there's something I've been thinking about too, and we discussed this, I think, Matt, in the last episode about the kind of pending labeling laws. Do you guys think that this stuff, like the winemakers, should always be labeling the bottles if they're working, say, biodynamically or?
Personally, I don't think there's a need. There's not a need, right? Ultimately, at the end of the day, if it's making a financial stream to the producer that they can be sustainable and do the practices that they want to do, that's one thing. But I think in the pursuit of putting things on the label, like I think the VDF or even Vin de France to be able to allow producers to grow and bottle what they think is really exceptional and not have to abide by the legislation
Yeah, but if a bottle, once it gets here in the U.S., if it's sitting on the shelf, right, and there's nothing except, the producer name and the type or whatever, would it not benefit the producer sales to say?
I like a lot of information.
Arturo,
I'm probably too nerdy for this, but like this is from De Maison, shout out.
Awesome,
but they
awesome importer, great
Their
words.
labeling is like super, super specific, right? And for
Yeah,
me,
lots
that
of
actually tells
information.
me, even though I've never tried this producer before, like the bottle sounded interesting. Oh, organic, biodynamic, no filtration, in champagne, like that's, it's a harder, climate's making it easier, but it's harder in champagne to do that. And so it's like, this is going to be interesting at the very least.
Yes.
I don't know if it's going to be great, but it's going to be interesting.
I think just to throw something in it, that it kind of ties back to your earlier point of how much does the language actually, support the buyer. So to a point, I think, yes, having the technical data available is very important. And maybe I'm slightly biased as a sommelier that I hope there always is someone to share the story or to connect the dots, to make more of a constellation, out of those points of what made the wine.
Yeah, it's nice to have that human touch at some point to say, hey, actually, by the way, these are all the things that you can't get from this label. But on the flip side, being in marketing, I work with brands that
I was going to say, like, from a marketing perspective.
Yeah, from a marketing perspective, if the way that you are creating this product is central to its identity, that needs to be signified in some way. And I think it's helpful to a consumer, especially now. I mean, there's, you go into a wine shop, there's thousands of bottles to choose from. And if I know that I want something biodynamic, I'm going to look for the biodynamic section or something that specifically says biodynamic. And that may force me to overlook something, especially if I'm in a hurry or there isn't somebody on site that has the knowledge to say, actually, this one's biodynamic as well, but it's not on the label. I don't know if that.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like, and then you can get too much specificity. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the label becomes overwhelming. Yeah.
Like German wine label sometimes.
Yes.
And okay, so it's picked at this weight, and then but it's truck, and you have to tell people, no, it's dry, even though it says Auslese on the label.
Yeah.
So.
And will that data ultimately give you the wine that you want to drink? So there is that educational component of being able to translate that.
Yeah, talking to the people.
There's definitely a balance, but it like too much information can be overwhelming, right? Like German labels, overwhelming even to like really like people who know wine a lot, right? And so it's there's a right balance. And I think people do a disservice when, you're kind of buying things without knowing what you're buying. And there's a lot of that going on. Yeah.
There is the option, though, of course, like if a shop or a restaurant only has one, if you're looking for a Riesling and they only have one, it doesn't matter how much information they have. That's the one you're going to buy. So good. Matt, what do you think of these guys, their insights on this topic?
Well, they're doing great. Taylor picked up a beanie in the last round. That's sick.
EMF, anti-EMF beanie.
$1,000 beanie.
And is in the lead from her 5 points from Chad. From the.
Sorry, Taylor.
Hey, it's okay.
I was trying to help. I know you want that extra wine glass. So.
I do.
Oh, no. She's leading.
Oh, look at you.
See,
look at that.
I'm
okay,
just on
guys.
for the ride.
So
I'll be happily delighted with each.
So there you have it. You guys have a little bit of work to do here as we roll into our next segment.
My kids need to get older.
Yeah.
Send them my way.
But you can still make up the points. We're hitting the wine cipher now, so we're going to give you the tasting note and have you match it up to one of 4 wines, and that's your chance to catch up and bury Taylor.
Yeah, right.
Bury her in points.
I'm sure it'll be easy.
Matt, are you ready to give them kick them a cipher?
I got kind of a fun one. So cloudy, pungent, and supremely earthy. This wine reveals its delicate acidity over time, bringing balance to its flamboyant fruit. With intense strawberry, orange peel, and black tea flavors, it's savory, richly built, finishing on a touch of smoky vanilla. That's from the Wine Enthusiast. Okay, so is it Tibblino 2022 Caveris Pink Riccatelli from Georgian Republic, Cherry Pie 2014 Pinot Noir from Caneros,
Cherry pie.
or Ariana Occhipinci 2011 Frappato IGT Sicily, Italy, Giacomo Conterno 2013 Monfortino Barolo Reserva, GOGC, Italy.
We only hear the notes once.
Okay,
Can we hear it one more time?
now that you know. Cloudy,
Thanks,
pungent, and supremely earthy, this wine reveals its delicate acidity over time, bringing balance to its flamboyant fruit. With intense strawberry, orange peel, and black tea flavors, it's savory and richly built, finishing on a touch of smoky vanilla.
Okay.
I feel like the cloudy thing is a tell of me. I'm not playing. I'm sorry. I should shut up. Sorry. Go ahead, guys. Yeah.
I was going to say Occhipinti because of the cloudy thing.
Yeah, likewise.
That was my guess, too.
Okay.
Unanimous vote.
Unanimous vote, you're all wrong.
And the black tea. Oh, gosh.
My second choice was Conterno, but I don't know why.
Wrong again.
So if I had a second, I would have thought the Riccatelli.
It's cherry pie.
Cherry pie.
I mean, that sounds like utter trash, but how can a California, like, bulk wine, industrial grade wine, how can it be cloudy?
And like earthy also
Earthy,
too.
cloudy, black, like tea?
No.
That sounds
That can't be cherry.
that sounds so complex and delicious.
Yeah.
I need to go buy one of these bottles.
Yeah, where do you find cherry pie?
Wine Enthusiast, I think. .com. No, yeah. So this was like a 2014 rating. So someone with, a very floral vocabulary.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to throw you guys off with the orange peel and the black tea. And
You did.
Yeah, that was
it was
fun.
good.
They revealed themselves more than the wine.
Man, that was dirty. I'm gonna hook you guys up because we're friends here.
Okay.
All right, so this is our next note. In the glass, this is a vibrant, translucent ruby with a clarity that reflects the cool northern light. The bouquet is a walk through a pine forest in autumn. There's that distinct herbal, cool climate lift. Think roasted jalapeno and dried tobacco leaf, wrapped around a core of tart Montmorency cherries. On the palate, it's lean and athletic rather than bulky. The tannins are chewy and persistent, with a cigar note leading into a high acid finish that leaves a dusting of black pepper and graphite. It's a red wine that values precision over power. Is it the 2021 Meiomi Pinot Noir? You know how that goes. Precision over power, like Meiomi always comes to mind. Is it the 2019 Camus Cabernet Sauvignon out of Napa Valley? I'm trying to help you people here. Stop laughing. Arturo couldn't even be next to the mic. He's just like spitting all over the place.
Wrap his allergy deal later.
Yeah. Is it the 2020 Two Lads Cabernet Franc out of Old Mission, or is it the 22 René Leclerc Gevrey Chambertin Village from Burgundy?
I'm going with Two Lads.
Two lads.
Yeah, Two Lads, but I almost wanted even turn to get some points over Taylor. But Two Lads, it's Two Lads.
Jeez, look at these folks. They nailed that one. It is, in fact, the Two Lads. What are we going to do? It's either too
It
easy
was a
or
good
too hard.
description of Cab Franc. That was like
It was.
Textbook.
What was the towel for you?
Peppery.
jalapeno,
Oh, the
also
pepper.
like a green component.
Pepper. I know.
Yeah.
And also
Green.
the
The
cold
northern
And
cold
oak.
weather.
Cold
Yeah,
weather
they
could
use
have
a little
been
oak.
Gevrey, but the oak also, and Gevrey can be peppery sometimes. Vone maybe more, but it was.
Well, you got it right. I mean,
it was
so
Cab
there's
Franc.
that.
It was Cab Franc.
It was
Yeah.
Cab Franc.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Bravo.
well played.
Bravo.
Knowing your products. Very good. Well, I think that's pretty good. And let's get them into, because we are let's check the timer. We're looking at, 36 minutes here. So I think we're right on schedule to roll into the Grape to Plate segment with Jason.
Cool.
It is now time for Grape to Plate with Chef Jason Berthold. All right. All right, Chef, the wine is poured. Tell us what you think about this one. And to our listeners, I will let you know that we are dealing with a fairly deep red wine here. Lots of ruby, kind of red hued, but fairly dark, a little bit. I don't want to get into the whole quartermaster sommeliers thing, but
let's not do that.
no, okay. Can't drop a little medium plus in here.
Yes, right.
Yeah, so a little medium red.
It's beautiful color.
Yeah,
Yeah, great aromatics. That's a nice, sweet, toasty oak.
yeah, mm-hmm.
Yeah, but nicely integrated. Right. It's not
Yeah, it smells kind
not
of
overpowering.
it smells kind of fancy. I would
Yeah,
say
totally,
I
totally.
dare to say it smells a little fancy.
Okay. Mm-hmm. It's pretty assertive on the palate.
Yeah, there it is.
You agree, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so-
Wow.
Little
Right.
lip smacker.
Definitely fruit tannin, wood tannin presenting itself.
Yeah.
The fruit is ripe, which is great because it gives you, I think, a little bit more versatility when you're pairing. It's not just super lean, austere, and tannic at the same time, which can be really
Thank
hard.
goodness. Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
thank goodness. Yeah, the fruit is, it's pretty juicy.
Yeah.
and ripe.
Yeah.
The temperature is a little cool. I apologize for that.
A little cool, but as things warm up, it will start to show more.
Yeah.
give more.
Yeah, but coming straight out of my little passive cellar downstairs,
Yeah.
and what's the temperature outside right now? About 10 degrees or something.
Probably
like that?
not more than single digits. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool, but it should warm up. But yeah, how does temperature? Just as a little quick side note, if we're going to buy ourselves, and excuse us, listeners, but we're going to buy ourselves a minute here with a little sidebar discussion about red wine temperature. How does that impact, Jason, the way you perceive the wine and in terms of like preparing for a pairing?
Well, I think worst case scenario when you're tasting red wine that's too warm, it just becomes just everything just jumps up out of the glass into your nose. You get alcohol, you get whatever may be barrel treatment, and it can be harsh. Right?
Yeah.
Conversely, when a wine's cold, it doesn't show very much, but it's really easy to let a wine warm up. It's much harder to cool a wine down once it's been poured and opened. So
Ice cubes?
no, yeah. I mean,
A little frozen jalapeno
maybe.
sliced up in there.
Yeah, right. So this is okay. I mean, we're going to let this wine open up, and I think that as it does open with temperature and air, the aromatics and the palate will maybe align a little bit more.
Yeah, knit together.
On the nose right now, it seemed very austere for me. Kind of Bordeaux varietals, maybe even Bordeaux proper.
Yeah.
But then on the palate, there was just like so much grip and tannin. It was like, wow, I don't know where I'm at right now. Temperature will bring those ends together.
It is, in fact, already. I'm starting to get more of like a zingy red fruit, almost like a dried fruit quality to it. I think it reminds me of like a fruit leather or something like that a little bit, but very much on the a little more on the zingy red berry side of things.
Totally. Yeah, I get that as well.
So to your Bordeaux varieties, I mean, maybe, something in the Cabernet Franc vein, but I'm also not getting that kind of peppery or herbal component I usually associate with Cabernet Franc. So I'm a little reluctant myself to go there, and that's not the point of what we're doing here right now anyway. But
yeah, well, all that said, it is a really well-structured, powerful wine. Powerful meaning aromatics to finish. There's a lot in between.
A lot of scale.
And and it's not powerful in a way that it's like high alcohol or high tannin in a way that's just like something it has. There's a lot going on here.
Yes.
I want to fire up the grill. I'm already lighting the charcoal right now as we taste this. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're gonna get the charcoal grill going.
What is it you're playing to there? Is that just that you want to kind of grab onto that scale and just like take it for a ride? Like everything here is big, and you just want to. You're kind of thinking.
Yep. Okay. I want to add a layer of char and smoke to this.
Yeah.
Because I feel like
it's going to carry it.
It can carry it 100%.
Yeah. Okay. So on the grill, of course, we're going to put some meat.
Yeah.
You're not going to grill a lobster with this.
Not with this one. Not with this one. But I want to splurge, and I want to get some dry aged beef. Again, as this wine starts to open, we're going to get to experience more of that kind of mid palate and what it might have, and
see what's underneath that density, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
But,
so what's the dry aged what kind of cuts can you get in dry aged beef? I'm not particularly familiar myself with shopping dry aged.
Surprisingly, you can get many cuts, most cuts. Wholesale more so than retail, but I think the most common are certainly the ribeye, strip loin, steaks, things like that. But what I like about dry aging is that there's an aromatic component to the meat, which might turn some people off. But I think when you've got a wine that is this robust, you can put a little something in there and say, hey, I'm here too, and they go back and forth a little bit. So that dry age, I may call it funk, a lot of times, like there's some earthiness and nuttiness to it.
That's more of a raw kind of quality, or do you get it also in the finished product?
Very much so. Yeah,
you do.
Especially the more marbling there is, because the fat is what takes on that aroma, right? So let's go grab some dry aged ribeye steaks.
Okay.
Charcoal's heating up right now.
Yep.
I really want to sit with this wine and kind of figure out where to go next.
Well, we don't have that much time on the show.
Okay, you're right.
But I like where you're going with that, with the ribeye. Something with some, like you said, some marbling, some fattiness. Because this is not a shy wine at all.
No.
So you can pretty much hang your hat on this thing and just let it carry it, because it's got everything. Like you said, it's broad, it's intense, it's got the density, but nothing is sticking out. It's pretty well balanced.
Almost a really unique kind of salinity in the finish, which makes me want to have with food even more so. So let's grab some little potatoes, like little marbled potatoes, little finger potatoes, fresh potatoes, whatever you can find, but small. Okay. And some beef tallow.
No.
We're gonna cook potatoes with beef tallow, just wrapped up in aluminum foil as the grill's heating up. So as the temperature's coming up, you're kind of slow cooking these potatoes in with the beef tallow, right?
Awesome.
At a certain point, you have to take them off because it's gonna get too hot. But let's get them going, almost like kind of confit. There's gonna be some smoke that gets in there. So we've got some potatoes and beef tallow, dry aged ribeye steaks. Probably if you can get them an inch thick or more, even better.
Okay.
Big proponent of seasoning in advance.
Yes, you've talked about that.
Kosher salt, maybe some fine sea salt, definitely cracked pepper. Let those
things
sit
out. Can we take a little sidebar on that?
Yeah.
Matter on the salt matter, or the difference between sea salt and a kosher salt, or a rock, not rock salt, but rock salt,
okay. There's rock salt, and I think let's preface this by saying, if possible, try to avoid iodized salt, because it has anti-caking agents, and that iodine itself can lead to a really perceived saltiness on the palate. So when you're seasoning, foods liberally, if you're using iodized salt, you're just going to go through the roof.
It's just going to be super salty.
Super salty. Yeah.
Okay.
Kosher salt is great because you can feel it. I think that's one of the big things is in professional kitchens, people use kosher salt, even down to the brand. If you want to know, Diamond Crystal is the one.
All right.
But because you can feel it, it's like imagine pinching snowflakes. You can touch them.
Yeah.
And
what's his name? The Salt Bay guy.
I'm not gonna say his
no. Sorry, a little too much.
But kosher salt is great. Flaky salt's great because it's easy to season. It's actually
you can
hard
meter,
to over season.
You can measure your
Sea salt is fantastic, but you get all these different flavors and mineral characteristics because of where the salt comes from.
Yeah.
I haven't found a great size of sea salt to be able to season by hand. It's usually either too coarse or very, very fine. So that's difficult to season, roast chunk of meat or something evenly. But kosher salt is a great baseline.
All right.
So we've got this ribeye steak.
Yep.
Salt, pepper, charcoal's up to temperature. We're going to pull these potatoes off.
Tallow,
at some point when the coals get up to temperature. But going back to this wine that's starting to open up now as it warms up, there's some kind of tar leather components to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are actually. Yeah.
Some dried
fruit.
fruit.
Leather, especially. It's like a new, one of those rawhide glove types. Just a tan leather glove.
Totally. Yeah. Very much so. Right.
Used to wear those all the time as a youngster. As my dad's favorite work gloves were always. As a kid, I used to always lose
like a new baseball mitt. Sometimes still has that smell.
Yeah.
But the tannins are very drying. It leads into some kind of dried fruit that presents itself on the finish. Almost kind of I'm in this weird place between Bordeaux varietals, but also are we in Ripasso territory? Are we getting into Corvina and wow, so
and because the acidity is there too. I mean, this thing is punching.
Absolutely, yeah,
it's throwing.
And to your point on acidity, I think I know what we're going to serve with this steak. So we've got our beautiful dried steak that we're going to grill over charcoal. We're going to introduce more smoke, and that fat's going to render off and sizzle up, and that's the flavor that you get is the fat hitting the coals that produces smoke. We've got potatoes off to the side cooking in beef tallow.
Yep.
And then condiment-wise with that steak, let's keep it simple because we've splurged for some nice dry aged meat. Let's make a chimichurri, but not just traditional chimichurri.
Parsley. What's in it?
Parsley, onion,
olive oil.
Is there vinegar? It could be red wine vinegar. I like to use lemon juice because it doesn't compete with the wine so much.
Yes.
But I want to go black garlic.
Oh, really?
So
yeah. What's the story on black garlic? It's fermented. What is black garlic?
It's basically.
I've got some in the fridge right now.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
I have no idea. No idea what to do with it.
All right. Well, let's go. It's an incredible tool because it is flavor packed. It's imagine. Balsamic vinegar compared to, say, red wine vinegar. Balsamic has that caramel, coffee, charred kind of characteristic.
Yeah.
This is black garlic, right? So they're actually dried in the kiln, and traditionally they're fermented, but now they're kind of just kiln dried. But they're basically slowly caramelized.
So it's roasted.
A little further. So maybe you've heard this Maillard reaction, which is what you get when you caramelize sugars and proteins.
Maillard, yes.
Black garlic is 100% Maillard reaction.
Okay.
It's all caramel, all toffee.
Yes.
But we're going to introduce that into the freshness of a traditional chimichurri. So take
base.
Yeah.
Base.
Yeah. That's right. Take a some minced onion. Doesn't need much at all. Marinate that with a little bit of lemon juice if possible. Vinegar's fine, but we don't want to go too strong in vinegar when you're appreciating fine wines. Let that kind of mellow. I like a little bit of mustard, Dijon mustard in my chimichurri, which is not traditional, but it adds another layer of spice and richness. Parsley, green onions, whatever herbs you have. If you've got a garden, basil, tarragon, all of those things are going to be fantastic. A little salt, a little olive oil, and then with this black garlic, it's pretty soft and it's pretty sticky.
Yeah, I was going to say, how do you integrate that?
You kind of just have to mash it up. With the side of a knife.
Sure.
If you have a mortar and pestle, that's great too. But make this early. Let it sit and marinate room temperature. Right.
Just to get the integration going.
Yeah. So there we go. We're going to have grilled dry aged ribeye steaks We've got these potatoes that have been cooked in beef tallow over the coals, so there's some smoke that's entered that.
And
now
black
we
garlic
have this
chimichurri.
herbal black garlic chimichurri, which is going to tie in beautifully with this wine. And I think those dried fruit kind of really persistent.
I'm digging it.
Finish.
I feel it, and what I'm envisioning here is just a flavor explosion.
Completely.
Right? I mean,
completely.
you're just blowing up. I mean, this is going to be a bunch of stuff. It's going to dance. It's going to play in the mouth. And I think you're right. This is a wine that should be able to stand up to that. I mean, it's going to be right in there. And
Let's see.
Yeah. You want to see what it is?
I do.
You know? All right. So this is a California wine. This is the, which vintage is it? The 2019 Howell Mountain Vineyards Zinfandel out of Napa Valley. So 2019 Howell Mountain Zinfandel. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So mountain fruit,
surprise.
intense fruit.
Yeah.
Presumably small berries. You get the diurnal shifts. You're getting all that preserved acidity in there.
Yeah.
Zinfandel brings the spice.
Yeah.
Wow, fantastic.
And it's not crazy. It's 14.5% alcohol. Nothing too radical there, but nicely done.
What a delicious
Howell
bottle of
Mountain
wine.
Vineyards. Yeah. A brand I'm not really super familiar with. We do have it over at Eagle Eye, but
well crafted.
kind of newer. Yeah, I think so too.
Totally.
So fun. What do you think then? Is this knowing it's a Zinfandel? Is this kind of where you would have gone if somebody said, "Hey, I got a Howell Mountain Zin. I want you to make a dish for it." Would you create the same dish, working the other way around?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, I don't have a lot of experience with Mountain Zinfandel. I do have experience with Howell Mountain and mountain fruit in general, and Napa in particular, because I lived there for so many years. Mm-hmm. And there's definitely a degree, of intensity that gets dialed up. But there's a preserved freshness and acidity to this, which is really, really wonderful.
Yes.
So I'm still, out back with my charcoal grill, with my dry aged steaks and my black garlic chimichurri.
Yeah.
Enjoying this Howell Mountain Vineyards Zinfandel all day.
Oof. Well, I'm there for it.
Yeah.
I like the idea. And I'm going to have to try more dry-aged steaks. I really have not done that. Not at home.
Yeah.
Something more like when you're dining out, kind of a treat.
It is a splurge. They're pricey.
Splurge, yes, in that way.
But this wine with this much texture and grip and acidity, they would match up really, really well.
Beautifully, chef. Beautifully done. Before we go, what is your practical hack for our listeners today?
Well, it's snowing outside here in Michigan, but I think in the summertime, whenever you have an opportunity to cook outdoors, if you have the chance to allow yourself to cook over live fire, whether it's charcoal briquettes, lumped charcoal, wood logs, there's an element of aroma that gets introduced to whatever you're cooking.
Sure.
We talked about steak. It could be vegetables. It could be mushrooms. It could be anything. Working with live fire and cooking adds another layer of complexity to things, and it could be simple things. But
So
I think that's
So get your grill going.
get your grill going, and when possible, over lumped charcoal or wood.
Yeah. Do you have a preferred wood? Or?
I like the fruit woods, apple wood, cherry wood, or grape.
We have a lot of that around here.
Yes, very much so. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Chef, thank you again, man. Another inspiring dish. I'm feeling this wine. I'm like, that could be great.
Yeah,
I think the steak with that would be something special.
Yeah. Thank you, Chuck.
A lot of fun.
Appreciate it.
We'll see you next
Cheers.
time.
Fuck, that's delicious.
Yeah, so we're back to do our emotive blind tasting with these guys. So you have there on your table it's in the paper bag this time, because this is one that Bobby Frank brought in for you.
Thanks,
regular
Bobby.
Listeners. Yeah, he's here in the studio. Thank you, Bobby. A little round of applause there. Yeah. Regular listeners will know Bobby from the show. He's been on several times, and he's always a very helpful hand around the studio as well to get things done. So the emotive blind tasting, then, what we ask you to do here is to taste this wine and then to give us your emotional response to the wine. Perhaps if it evokes some memories for you, or Mark, of course, you led the whole episode off with an emotive blind tasting about being a a silkworm burrowing through the earth.
That's right.
Yeah, it was beautiful for that
my dream.
Châteauneuf. Yeah, Thank you. Check it out, and then we'll have you give us that response. The other option to handle this, you can describe it as if it were a person as well. Like, what kind of person would this be? The wine, if it were a person. What kind of person? You can relate it to the stars and the zodiac. What else? Chris Hunter had us working on what? Oh, music. If it was a song, this kind of a thing. So anything except those straight up and down tasting notes. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Okay, thank you. So we'll let you work on that. And while you are, let me also say that there is in the glass for these folks a golden yellow wine. I would say it's pretty golden. So just for our listeners, so you know what they're getting into here. You hear all this slurping and gurgling. It's a white wine, obviously. So, yeah. So, any immediate hits? Anyone feeling emotional right away?
This reminds me of being in my father's kitchen. It smells like secondary memories of cheese rind and cooking with white wine and chicken fat. And it just is making me think of the smell of a chef's
Chicken
jacket
fat,
after
I
a
like.
long shift.
Yeah. A chef's coat after a long.
I love that.
It's beautiful.
I was gonna say, like, that smell of like an old book, right when you open it, but kind of by a fireplace. There's something a little smoky to this. Yeah, I mean, I really like it, but it's I think
So you're
an
in
old book. You're covered with a really big, warm, fussy blanket. It's cold outside, but you got a fireplace.
You got the fireplace
going.
and the
Yeah,
old book.
that's
Wow.
kind of what this feels like. It's
So you're getting cozy on this one.
yes.
All right.
Yes.
For me, this is like
Go ahead.
It's like classical. Like somebody's playing the piano, and this is like they're playing Mozart, and this is up on the piano, like waiting for the last sort of like lilt, and then they come and take that sip to just kind of like take in the moonlight. I don't know.
Poetic.
Oh, it is poetic. It's very nicely done. But okay. So I think you guys have nailed that part. I want to ask you this question though: is it delicious? Because it tastes fucking delicious.
Yeah, it is.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, like
Say, can you
what?
cuss?
Love was the emotion that
Wow.
came to me like immediately, because this is like, I mean,
Yeah. Wow.
Garlic going on too.
Sorry, man.
There's like some garlic going on too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When she started mentioning like the kitchen, I had not thought of that, but I was like, that's spot on.
Oh, it's opening it up.
Like textural.
So
nuanced,
savory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like food. It tastes like food. It's so good. That is wonderful. Well, does any of you, whatever the word.
Everybody's about tied right now, so whoever gets closest is going to win.
Yeah, but we're going to ask if you want to guess
I mean,
as to what it might be.
Burgundy. Can I go farther than that?
That's super fair, yeah.
I was thinking possibly burgundy, but for me it's lacking that acidity. It has a little more
Really?
body and texture. I'm thinking like Alsace personally.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. See, I kind of was going Austrian in my mind. It feels,
I was
there's
gonna
something greener.
I was gonna say either, even though they're not, that's Gruner or Gewürztraminer. Yeah, something definitely German, Austrian, something, but
Okay.
like not.
Well,
it
same-
doesn't have the acidity of Riesling.
So
I agree with you.
That's what points you, probably, Taylor. The lack of acidity points you back to Alsace. So you
Yeah.
get something fleshier and more mature. Wow, it's fascinating. Well, I guess those are our guesses.
Gruner, white Burgundy, and then Austrian, something Austrian.
Alsace.
Alsace.
Alsatian.
Alsatian.
S'il vous
All
plaît.
right. All right, cool. Whoever wants to see, whoever's the most curious.
Yeah, you have better reach. Thank you.
Arturo it is. He's taking off the rubber band right now.
I'm gonna hold you.
And then
It's a
Taylor's
tall bottle.
holding-
I'm just
Wow,
noticing,
Bobby
so-
is good at wrapping bottles.
There's no peeking.
Oh, it's VDP, so it's German. Sauvignon Blanc.
Thinning. All right.
Wow,
Smokiness there.
that's cool.
All right. I'm gonna
So that's
say-
the Von
Not colored.
the Von Winning is the Sauvignon.
I'm gonna need another splash of
So
that.
2019.
2019 Sauvignon Blanc.
Okay, and what's the appellation on
May I
that?
pour for you?
Weingut.
I'm gonna say Arturo's the closest.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, I called Green.
You're not playing.
You stole it from me.
You have minus vibes already because you don't go for the vibes.
That stinks. Well, the Von Winning Sauvignon, yeah, dang, that was pretty close.
Man, that is cool.
I should have caught
Thanks,
that.
Bobby.
Yes, Bobby. Thanks again. Always a
Take a
special
picture of
treat.
that one.
Yeah, for sure. So while Matt is tallying up our scores here, we wanted to ask you each of the wines you've had today, what's your wine of the show?
This.
Arturo's on the Von de Winning Sauvignon. Okay.
I concur.
It's beautiful, but the one that was open when I first arrived, the Fruit Loops,
Preisinger, yeah.
I just
Klaus
thought that was so
Preisinger.
damn delicious.
That was fun.
Yeah, and very unique. This is gorgeous, but
Cool.
we won't be unanimous on this one. Spice it up.
Fair. Good. Well, thank you very much. It looks pretty good. Do you want to... are you ready to go? You're ready? You got... Okay. Give it to us.
All right, so the winner is Arturo. Second place is Taylor, and third place is Mark. But you guys have like other accoutrements that you got along the way. Arturo picked up the yellow label, and he also picked up the bear claw slippers, like the
Very
cozy.
fussy. Yeah, very
And then Mark picked up a piano with moonlight, like the sonata, and silkworms. And then Taylor got a cutting board and an EMF beanie.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's very on brand.
At least it wasn't crabs.
For the clap. Yes. Well, thank you all very much. And also, you're not going home empty-handed either. You get, we have these Stolzla cocoon glasses for you, too, so you can enjoy those at home. Did you like drinking out of them, by the way? What do you think?
Yeah, pushes the aromatics really forward.
Doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, nice light
Without it being aggressive.
feel to them. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've never honestly drank anything out of this brand of glasses that I can remember, but it's really cool. It's, the rim is thin, but feels durable. Like, it doesn't feel like I'm going to break it.
They actually say it's dishwasher safe, which is
Really?
seems unbelievable, but that's what they say. So
I believe it. It doesn't,
All right, yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's going to break in my hand like a lot of really high-end glasses.
Cool.
Yeah.
We'll wash them up and let us know next time you come down how they're holding up. So good. Well, thank you all very much for coming out. We had a great afternoon here, and we really appreciate you playing along and having a good time with it. So
Thanks so much.
Thank
yeah,
you.
we'll look forward to seeing you all next time.
Till the next.
Thanks so much.
Bravo. That was fun.
Good job.
That was fun.